confusion aside, Cassette Beasts actually has pretty in-depth and thus complicated battle mechanics. Here's a screenshot of the weakness chart on the Cassette Beasts wiki. The thing that is interesting is stuff isn't just weak or strong to specific element types. They also gain buffs and debuffs. For example, if an earth type takes damage from a water type, it becomes eroded and its defenses drop. On the flip side, if you hit a poison type with a plant type attack, its attacks get buffed because you make poison stronger. There's also a handful of instances where a type change can happen, like hitting plastic with fire turns it into a poison type. The game is really good at explaining all of this, and if you have no issues keeping track of modern Pokemon's gigantic chart of type matchups, you won't have an issue here. Otherwise, it's not a bad thing to keep a chart handy, specifically because the whole addition of buffs and debuffs makes it just a touch more complicated than just this is stronger, this is weaker. Cassette Beasts doesn't seem to have followed along with some of the modern trends of being overly easy for this type of game either. Most beasts have the ability to gain a defensive move that will assist in blocking incoming damage, and you'll actually need to use these in more challenging fights. I'm sure you can overlevel in this game, at least to a point, but I haven't dug in far enough to know for sure yet. I usually don't mind overleveling. It generally happens because I explore quite a bit in these games. And I can see my level slowly sort of creeping past the areas that are appropriate for me to be in, but we'll address that in just a minute. Or I'll completely forget to go back to it and have to edit it in afterwards like I did the previous statement. So you learn moves from some of the beasts that you capture, and you need those moves to actually traverse the map. They're not terribly hard to get, and you can actually look up a pretty easy list of all the beasts that you should capture to get the traversal abilities. But it's worthwhile to throw that out there. This is a truly open world sort of map. So as long as you'll take the time to get the traversal moves, you can go pretty much anywhere you want to. But the monsters do get harder in progressively later and later game areas. Now granted, if you're grinding and you want to get your character's levels up there, you can do that. The game doesn't force you to take on the story or the quests in any particular order. So odds are pretty good if you force your way all the way through one particular quest line before addressing the others, you're probably going to end out over-leveled for at least one. And that's, I guess, goes back to me talking about potentially being able to be over-leveled. You can be, but there will always be somewhere or something to do in the game that will be appropriate for whatever level you're at. And it's also worth adding that unless I've missed something, the only time you evolve is when you're resting at a campfire, and it gives you the option to choose whether or not to evolve your monster. Evolutions are a little bit different in this game. Like, you can even change types.